So AJ, I'm just honored to have you on the call today. You've really been someone that has moved the needle forward with the EXP opportunity, an exciting example of what true freedom looks like at a young age. I think so many times in real estate, we get stuck in this monotonous grind that we can never escape from. And my goal today is really just to have people hear your story, how you got started. So if you could maybe just start off and give yourself a little bit of an introduction of how you truly just got started in real estate. What did the beginning look like for you?
Cool, man. Yeah. So I've actually 10 years. It's been 10 years I've got my real estate license. Crazy how fast it goes. So I got licensed at the end of 2012, and I kind of randomly got my real estate license. Long story, but I'll make it really short. I broke my leg in a four-wheeling accident in West Virginia, and I had some time to read while I was laid up on the couch for a couple of weeks there. And at the time, I was running a somewhat successful painting company. It was paying the bills, painting houses, but it wasn't really anything that was going to get me ahead or that I enjoyed. So rather than being out in the field doing estimates, I was reading books on the couch. And because I was always an avid reader, I had tons of books that I never read that I purchased from Borders when they were going out of business back in the early 2000s. And a book that caught my eye was The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller. And probably caught my eye because I was like, well, my goal is to be a millionaire one day. So let's see how I could accomplish that as a real estate agent. So I grabbed it and I started in the back of that book. And in the back of that book, it has stories of all the millionaire real estate agents. And it inspired me. So while that book's pretty outdated and all the numbers don't make sense, the general philosophies of the book still apply to today. And you can certainly get a lot of inspiration from the back of the book. But I was like, what? You can actually, as a real estate agent, be an entrepreneur, because through and through, I'm an entrepreneur. So I got my real estate license in 2012, first year at Keller Williams. It wasn't the best. However, I got Rookie of the Year from selling 6 houses and making no money. The bar is set really low in real estate, I came to find out. And what I discovered that first year was how to actually do it. I tried everything under the sun. I was doing open houses. I was doing buyer leads through Craigslist. I wasted a bunch of money on realtor.com leads. I was doing a little bit of for sale by owner prospecting. I was networking. I was doing all these things and nothing was really working, because what I discovered is you got to go all in on one thing to gain traction. So I hired a coach halfway through that first year. By the end of the first year, I had over 20 active listings. And my second year in the business, I sold 36 homes, and the rest is history. So that's how I got in real estate.
Yeah, so it's incredible. I think so many people judge like if they're cut out for real estate that first year. And that first year, you're just trying to figure out what the heck you're doing. And it's hard. I see some of our top producers today that didn't sell anything their first year. And I have to encourage even my own team, like, understand that this is the long game. It's not, it takes a lot of skill set. How did EXP, because you got into EXP in the close to just after the inception a good bit, and how did you even start learning about EXP and the opportunity when so many other people did not?
Yeah, so it would have been the end of 2016. So I was at KW for 4 years. I ended up growing a team in the Charlotte market. We were selling close to 100 homes a year. So business was good. But what I saw was future many, many, many years ahead, where I was just going to be stuck on this transaction treadmill. And, you might be thinking to yourself, like, well, that's kind of where I feel like I am right now. Or maybe you really didn't have any expectations getting into real estate. But I challenge anyone listening to this today to be thinking about, why did you get into real estate? What do you want to get out of real estate? I was very clear when I got my real estate license, because I read this book right here, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that talks about financial freedom. I knew that I wanted financial freedom so that I could have time freedom and location freedom. And what I discovered was, even though I was making couple $100,000 a year selling houses, I was going to be trapped by my real estate business, stuck in the rat race on that transaction treadmill. So I had a real estate coach throughout my career, and I was sharing with my coach at the end of 2016, like, hey, I want to try to go for this idea of like expansion. Keller Williams was really pushing this idea of expansion in different markets. And if that didn't really go the way I hoped, I was like, I'm going to go independent. Those were like the options to grow and continue to essentially leverage your time. I was looking to create a somewhat residual income inside of a real estate business so that I could have financial time and location freedom. And my coach was just like, hey, AJ, before you go that direction, just watch this video. And it's pretty much the same video that we share with agents today about EXP. I watched it, and what I saw was the opportunity through our very unique revenue share model on how to really essentially, if you just took a piece of paper and wrote the T, pros, cons, and wrote down all the cons of running a team, all the cons of having independent real estate brokerage, and then listed all the pros of those, revenue share is the pro column without the cons column. And I was like, sign me up for that. So I joined like a couple weeks after seeing that initial video, if it took me that long. And I've been with EXP now just past my 6-year anniversary.
Yeah. And I know when you were first making that leap of faith, people were thinking that you were crazy and like, why are you doing this? And, from when you saw the vision of what EXP could create for your family, you were willing to change everything that you were doing in order to take a step into this EXP opportunity when practically no one in the country even knew what EXP was. They were just, I think, at penny stocks at the time, their stock portfolio. And if I remember correctly, you left everything behind in Charlotte to go on this journey with your wife. Share a little bit about kind of was the start of the journey that has turned into where you are today. Like, what was the piece as like, we want a different chapter in our life right now, and we're willing to fight for it on that level. And we're willing to leave behind everything that we were working for that you thought was going to be your career path in this business.
Yeah. So, and I know you're a firm believer in this, Nathan, is that, clients do business with us. It doesn't really matter about the brand that we're aligned with. And I felt that way at Keller Williams. Actually, NAR, National Association of Realtors, says that buyers and sellers choose their agent based on brokerage affiliation less than 3% of the time. So I was like, it doesn't matter where I go, I'm going to do the same amount of business. So I really have nothing to lose. I kind of look at things like, what's the upside? What's the downside? There was a lot of upside to come to EXP with really no downside. Worst case scenario, I could have went independent if EXP didn't work out. I could have went back to Keller Williams and they probably would have not charged me for the next year. They would be like, come back, you don't got to pay anything, just come back, So I took a leap of faith. Now what's cool is like when you partner with us at EXP, it's a proven model. We're a proven leadership team inside of EXP. So it's not like if EXP will work for you, it's if you'll show up and do the work because it's a proven model. So I took a leap of faith because I was really clear on my goals, which was freedom. And if you've been selling real estate for a while and you're a top producer or a team leader, the pains and the struggles that come with that. The sleepless nights, when you're on vacation and you're like, oh my gosh, this seller just emailed me and wants to take their house off the market because it didn't sell yet, or this buyer's backing out. And now like that morning while your kids are playing on the beach is ruined because that deal that was supposed to close is falling through. And now that's going to hurt you financially. And you're wondering where that money is going to come from that you were depending on. Like there's so many things. And it's like, I was only 4 years in, I was 30 years old. And I'm like, I don't want to get to 50 and still feel like this. So when I saw EXP was everything I already had going, all the training I needed, a great cap, low fees, great culture, had all of that, but it had two pieces that nowhere else had, which was revenue share and stock. So I was like, I'm going all in. So I joined, we'll call it 2017, January 1. So just about 6 years. And I was like, I'm just going to keep selling houses like normal, but I got a 5-year plan that I'm going to put in place. Within 5 years, by the time I'm 35, I want to have enough income residually through our rev share model to retire, go live the life of my dreams, doing what I desire with whoever I want, whenever I want. That to me is freedom. So 2017 was going really well, sold close to 100 homes again. And by the end of that first year, I sponsored 6 agents. 6 agents partnered with me at EXP. And my goal was to get 5 that year. My goal was to get 5 a year for 5 years. So just 25 total. And if you're selling a couple homes a month, you can sponsor a couple agents a month. And my goal was only 5 a year. So, but I saw if I get 25 total over 5 years, my 5-year plan, that through our tiered revenue share system, I should be able to get an organization of 500. And it happened in just 18 months. I ended up sponsoring 22 agents. I discovered it was easier than selling homes, took less time, and was more fun. And I sponsored 22 in 18 months instead of, the 7 or 8 that I would have needed to sponsor to be on track. And turned into 500 agents in just 18 months. So I had 500 agents in 18 months. 18 months in that month, I made exactly $24,490 in rev share. And my wife and I, we looked at each other. We're like, well, what's next? And 2 months later, we sold our house in Charlotte and traveled the country for a year in a motorhome, living a passive income driven lifestyle, doing exactly what we wanted to be doing every single day. And we've been doing that since.
And I think too, people that don't understand the true EXP opportunity, they see rev share and agent attraction and they think like, oh, this is like some pyramid deal and it's not about selling real estate. One of the things that attracted me is that when I actually started looking at the numbers of EXP as a producing real estate company, that really opened up my mind to say, man, they are growing in true real estate production faster than anything I've ever seen in this industry. And they're continuing to be the person that's moving that needle forward in a cloud-based business. It's not about not selling real estate. It's about connecting with other top real estate agents and brainstorming ideas to grow, because essentially the agents become ownership layer within the company. And it just continues to, it's kind of broken. It has broken the mold that brokers don't necessarily grow agents. It's agents growing other agents. And then you took on that on a bigger layer from an entrepreneurial standpoint to share people how they can still be doing what they're doing, just do it more efficiently with more opportunities than they have with the standard methodology of selling real estate. You don't have to give up selling real estate, although agent attraction at times will get you to such a level that it creates an income and a lifestyle that you can be focused on growing other agents' opportunities versus your own personal sales. But it is built off of production. When I can remember when you first said, like, oh, I got 500 agents, people want to doubt, even though they want someone to succeed, they want to doubt sometimes what's being put on the surface. And for me, I can tell you the feeling that I had. I'm like, oh, AJ gave up his real estate business back in Charlotte. He's on the road. He has 500 agents. But that's not real. That's not his real team. That's just like this revenue component team. But ultimately, it is your real team. And it's the gift that keeps on giving, because the more people you introduce to the model, they can go 7 layers deep of introducing this to other people. And it just starts to naturally and organically grow. And a lot of that growth comes from people that you don't even know. It's people that you connected to originally that continue to grow this opportunity. Tell me, share with because this really blows my mind. So you just spoke about what happened that first year. You said you made about, was it 24,000? You said in passive revenue. Now we're in it to 6 years. Can you kind of share how year upon year, how your organization grew and what it looks like today?
Yeah, definitely. And you said a lot of good things in that, Nathan. I just want to touch on a couple of them real quick. It's like, our model was designed so we could sell more real estate. And the way you sell more real estate as a real estate company is you recruit more real estate agents of the best real estate agents, which we have in most states. We have like some of the #1 agents in the entire state with our company. So you recruit the best agents to your company. And that's how, as a company, you sell more real estate. And it's no different than running an independent brokerage or a real estate team. I learned this from Gary Keller when I was at Keller Williams. Your #1 goal as a team leader running a team or independent brokerage, your #1 job description is to recruit and retain talent. It's to recruit talent, except the difference is I was recruiting the best talent that I could that were newer agents that would be willing to join a team on not the best split available. But it was a stepping stone. But that's who joins teams, people that are looking to learn and get better at their skills. You're not getting Nathan Abbott's in my organization at EXP. That blows my mind. One of the biggest agents in all of Florida, doing almost $300 million in production this year, is part of my team. Nathan Abbott would have never joined Mida Real Estate Group in Charlotte, North Carolina, doing 100 deals a year. Like that conversation would have never even taken place or been entertained. That's the power of what we're doing. So my job's the same as any independent broker owner, any team leader, any franchise owner. It's to recruit good talent and retain talent, except when I recruit good talent, like I did John Mikesh, who recruited Nathan, I get one person who goes out and gets 40 people, and those people go out and get hundreds of people. So that's the power of what we're doing. And to think of it any other way, like, oh, it's about recruiting, or, oh, it's a pyramid, like that's all limiting beliefs and garbage that other people, typically your broker, is telling you to keep you in place on the hamster wheel inside their brokerage to continually make money only for them. So yeah, that's a side note, I guess. So it's the first year I got 157 agents. By the end of year 2, I was at 970 agents. So I started my year trip August 1st, 2017, and I had probably around 600 agents when I started that trip. So put yourself, let's call this the tale of two agents. So AJ, has his revenue share team. He decides he's going to take a year-long trip around the country in an RV. And let's see how that goes. And then we have, let's call him, I don't know, Don. Don decides he's going to leave his team of 5 agents in Charlotte, North Carolina, and leave for a year, travel the country, and let's see how that goes for him. So I leave a year later, I'm done, and my team grew from 500 agents to 1,600 without me really having to do much to have that growth. My income about tripled in that same amount of time. My hours were extremely part-time, and I just had an amazing time, and business grew and everything was good. Don is who I was. Don is me at Keller Williams with a team of 5 agents. Had I left that, Don leaving his business, coming back, you're probably going to come back to nothing. While you're gone, your agents are going to be like, forget AJ. He's gone. He's traveling. He's living it up. We're here working. We're in the office every day. Why am I paying him a split? While you're gone, your agents are probably going to leave. Best case scenario, they're going to leave and go out on their own. Worst case scenario, they're going to steal all your clients while you're gone. I've had both those scenarios happen to me throughout my career. So it's just like, it goes back to the pros and cons chart. It's running a team with all of the pros without any of the cons. So yeah. Fast forward to today, my team is over 6,500 agents, and I have a 2.5-year-old son and a 6-month-old baby girl. And because of the true residual nature of EXP, I get to be a stay-at-home dad, and I get to spend every day how I want to spend every day. And you can't do that as a real estate agent in any other model that I've seen.
And how old are you today?
36.
So it's amazing. So I've been doing this business. I'm starting to see the light in a huge way of, I've always been focused on production first, right? That's who I've been. I've been a hard, agent working relentless hours, top producer. Then the next step as they try to design your mind to do is you got to grow a team. So I grew a team. It started with my wife. Then it went to a team, and that continued to grow. And then I was like, I got to be my broker now, because that's the true path of freedom, because now I get to control the shots. I'm the owner. And I made that leap, as you saw. And that's with being in a real estate family. That's being the 3rd generation with my family, seeing my family that had 1,200 employees and ran the largest real estate company in this market center down here. I was like, that's what I want. But everything's changed in that path. Technology has changed. Exposure has changed. Back then, they were running this empire company that was only from people had to walk into the door to get the information. And from a rental management company that they had at the time, people had to walk it through the door, which created the sales. With the technology aspects now, I don't think people want to be trapped to be in an office. I know they don't. And what EXP has naturally done, they've just became the Amazon of real estate. And you hear that spoken at times because they've been able to leverage connection of talent on a global scale that allows you to build relationships through online practices only to strengthen the in-person relationship. Because if you go to these events or you go to these Zoom stuff and then you meet these people in person, you already know who they are and you have this connective level and you have all this inspiration, people you can tap into. Share with me, because I've already seen it. I've been with them for 2 years, and just the level of relationship that you can tap into on people that have done it bigger and better. And people coming into EXP right now, you're really starting to see, like the recent $700 million producer, and just people that had highly successful teams, but now they're all sharing ideas together in so many different ways. I know you haven't done this alone, AJ. It's from putting yourself around the right minds and the right people to truly expand your mind on a whole different level than where you started. And that's also been the case for me. It allows your dreams to get a lot bigger than you ever thought were possible.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about that. It's all about, I think about this all the time. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And at EXP, it's cool because, when I joined, we only had 2,400 agents, and now we have over 85,000. But the company has never lost its feel of like just being at a backyard barbecue with your buddies, hanging out, having a good time. And that's really cool. I think as a company scales to the size we have, it's really hard to maintain that culture, and it truly has. And it's very evident to any conference you go to, it has that feel. And that's important because it makes everyone approachable. Like you mentioned, the recent $700 million producer that came over, you're the $300 million agent producer. Like, we have these mega agents, and any one of them you can reach out to. You can walk up to them at a conference. I mean, at a conference, you can walk up to our founder, Glenn Sanford, billionaire, founder of EXP, CEO, and say hello, shake his hand, grab a picture, ask him a question, have a conversation. I don't know of any other founder of a real estate company, even close to our size, who is that accessible. And that's really ingrained in our culture that, we are all real estate agents at the heart. Glenn Sanford was and is a real estate agent. That's how he got his start. He had a real estate team in Bellingham, Washington, and we're all real estate agents, and we just have achieved different levels of success. But I think for the most part, and of course, not everyone, feels the same and is completely humble with the success that they have. It's not all rainbows and sunshines completely, but I would say like 99.9% of the people that I associate and meet at EXP, man, they are the nicest, most humble, most open and sharing people that I've ever met. And it is fun, man, because it's one thing to make a lot of money, but doing it by yourself or even worse with miserable people, that would suck. It's fun.
Yeah, that to me is the best gift. It's like the ego completely disappears because I read a stat the other day that EXP has more actual agents, brokers in their leadership team than any other organization that I'm aware of. And like, I've been to so many masterminds. It's like, hey, I'm the King Kong of this business. And they come out from the curtain to disappear in the curtain, and you never see them again the rest of the thing. Or someone you talk is like, oh yeah, man, I'll help you when you get home, or we'll connect when you get home, and you never see them again until you go to a mastermind. My career was built off of going to masterminds, learning, but what you ultimately found out is when you got back home, everyone got busy in their personal lives, and there was no one there to collaborate and share ideas when you're away from the conference.
Yeah.
What I've learned in EXP is because all the agents have an ownership layer and they own half of the company, that even from the top of all the top leaderships, when you approach them, they're like, man, this guy's an owner in the company just like I am. And what I love about it is that every single person has the same opportunity to grow as the CEO of the company. And that is really rare, if not even not available at all to find, because of this hierarchy command. It's like, I'm the chief guy, I'm the rainmaker, you're the agent, you're the admin, and it goes down the totem pole. And how dare you step into that space to approach someone that you're not on that same magnitude of success. What I have found at EXP, when you said it's fun, is the approachability of people. It doesn't matter who they're with or what organization within the EXP. You walk up to them with just passion to communicate and to share ideas, and it's never ending in this business. And to see Glenn Sanford to be at different events, and he's a student of the game, sitting with the people in the audience taking notes.
That's cool.
That's the type of leadership I want to surround myself around. And they're all like that. Brent Gove to Gene Frederick, and all these guys were masters of the game in real estate, and they learned how can we work together in an environment to become this incredible company instead of being this harsh cutthroat competition. Let's take all of our talents, because we're in similar circles already, and combine forces to create the ultimate movement of our industry. And that's agents helping agents. And that's the true gift of EXP, in my opinion, are the relationships that you meet along the journey versus being alone, thinking that you made it, but not have anyone to share that with. And I think you feel the same.
Yeah, 100%, man. That's like the biggest limitation I feel at most real estate companies, is they don't have that culture. It seems like it's very competitive inside, to the point where it's like, scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset. And when you surround yourself with the right people, it's like you're looking at not just how well do they do in business, but you look at all areas of their life, and nobody's perfect, of course, and everyone has struggles. But when I align with people and I want to partner with people, I look at like how do they just carry themselves in a conversation? Like, do they look miserable, or are they really having true fun? Or what kind of like language are they using? Are they more negative and pessimistic? And I'm very purposeful about who I surround myself with. Like, how's their marriage going, relationship with their kids, how's their fitness, how's their adventure life, because that's important to me. And I just find at EXP that there's no shortcoming to amazing people that I can surround myself with. It's kind of like, sometimes I think like, man, there's so many amazing people at EXP. I wish I could get to know more of them at a deeper level, but there's just not enough time. One of the things that is really exciting for me is like you said, taking ego aside. And I think when you decide to not have an independent brokerage, or you decide to, just join EXP versus another company, you're like, hey, I'm just gonna let my ego go, because I'm achieving goals that are really important to me. And everyone has different goals. And over the last few years, I've been really excited to not like my goal is not to just like keep climbing the charts at EXP. It's like, how much time can I spend with my family? Like, how many cool adventures can we go on? How many days can I get on the slopes? And this year it's not going to be many with a new baby in the house, but next year I'm going to change that. It's how can I learn this new hobby on kiteboard? Because there's a great book that I'm reading recently. It's called Die with Zero. And I really like this book anywhere else, but it talks about like just like life energy in general, and how when you're working, you're trading your life energy for dollars to buy things. But more importantly, it talks about the timeline of your life. And there's just certain activities, certain things you can do during certain periods of your life, due to your health, how well you move, how you feel, your energy to do things. And you and I both, Nathan, we're still in a time in our life where we can get out there and snowboard and kiteboard and, go on hikes or whatever we like to do. But man, it's not always going to be that way. And we need to be very purposeful now to do those things. And, this conversation that I'm saying right now isn't about selling real estate, but at the same time it is, because what you need to really pursue your passions outside of real estate in life is residual income, so that you're not always trading hours for dollars. And revenue share is a good solution to that.
Yeah, because when you trade hours for dollars, then all the things that you're building towards to enjoy, you can't enjoy, because it only depends on you being on the hamster wheel to do it. So for me, it's not changing my production levels. In fact, my production has tripled in 2 years of joining EXP, but it's an extra layer of income opportunity just from simply growing in this business and knowing people that also adds into all the other things that you're doing, your personal investments, to your real estate career, to your passive revenue. And for you, your passive revenue at this point is beyond anything that you've ever put your money in, or the work that you have done on the hamster wheel. I mean, it's just truly amazing. Your inspiration to that. So you said 6,500 people or so in your organization. And for people that are listening, they may be like, man, how is that even possible? How to even start? How many people did you personally bring on that multiplied to 6,500 people? That's the craziest part to me.
Yeah. So going back since I've been with the company, it's averaged about 2.5 new agents that I brought into the company per month. So it's,
And
it's,
how many total have you brought on since you started?
how many total?
Yeah.
I think I want to say like 170 to 180.
Yeah, so 180 people has turned into 6,500 people. I mean, I don't know of any company that has an opportunity that would allow that to happen. But mine's been different. Like I've been fully focused on production versus opening this understanding to other people on a deeper level, because I do care about them discovering a better outlet for them. But even myself, I brought on 20 people. It's turned into 60 people in my team because they brought people on. That's turned into 137 people in my organization. I feel like I haven't even gotten started and introducing this opportunity to other people, but I see the vision of how that can continue to grow in such a fast pace. So even when you're not trying to grow the agent attraction component, it just starts growing naturally because you're doing what you're doing. Imagine if you start shifting to that growth like you're doing. I think I want to end it with this. I think some people that think about EXP, it's because they were introduced to it by the wrong person delivering the wrong experience that made that person feel that they were just another commission to that agent. And it created this turnoff. Just like your customers don't want to feel like they're sold, agents sure as heck don't want to feel like they're sold. And some people that join in EXP, they may not have been in production or they didn't have that outlet. So they're like, hey, this is my next get rich opportunity. So then they just start throwing up EXP on people that they've never even had a relationship with. And so people that this may be an amazing opportunity for has put up this roadblock to say, I'm not even going to look at the opportunity because of one person that introduced it to me wrong was a turnoff and it felt yuck. And I don't want to be in that space. And that actually happened to me. And I'll never forget what Brent Gove said. This is amazing. I'm looking out in the audience at all the people that said no to me in the beginning until they actually did the research to realize what they were saying no to, and it changed everything. Let's end it with that of like, for people that do have that resistance and the fact that other brokerages are trying to say, why not join EXP? That made me even more curious about me doing the research. So share a little bit of that and closure for people that have roadblocks up from even digging deeper into what this opportunity allows.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's so good. It's kind of like this. Like I think about the EXP opportunity as being a solution to like your end game. So as a real estate agent, maybe EXP isn't the solution, but it could be. So like my mission, like if I had a mission for like what I'm doing with my work, it's like helping real estate agents figure out what their like financial freedom number is, and then being able to go live the life of their dreams. For some people, it might be, I'm going to work until I'm 70 and I hope to sell $100 million a year in real estate until I'm 70, because I get validation from selling real estate. I get the recognition, it strokes my ego. I love winning awards. I love the art of the deal. Like I love hunting for the deal. I love leading my team. All those things are great. For me, it was like, I want to figure out how to have enough money as quickly as possible so that I can live a passive income driven lifestyle, so that I can be the most famous in my own home and pursue my passions and my hobbies. And most real estate agents don't even have these thoughts. It's like they're operating on autopilot like robots, and they're just like stuck in the matrix and they're drones and they're going to work forever. Like that's like, the vast majority of Americans. So like if I could shake a real estate agent listening to this right now, I would say, what is your financial end game? Like, what are you working towards? Like, I mean, would you wake up tomorrow and just start walking with no end in mind? Would you just continuously walk for the next 3 hours with no destination or plan in place? No. If you're even out walking, it's probably to do 30 minutes exercise, or maybe you're walking to the coffee shop or whatever it might be. But like 99% of people are like just out working to just work with no plan. So the plan is like, what are your goals? So figure out what you'd like to do. Like if you won the lottery for, I don't know, $100 million tomorrow, like what would your life look like? And then reverse engineer, how can you accomplish that type of lifestyle through your real estate business, through running a team, being an independent agent, through revenue share at EXP? Like these are kind of your solutions. So if I'm, 40 years old, I'm 36. So this is just like an example of somebody else. If I'm 40 and I got two young kids, let's say under the age of 5, I'm probably thinking, for me, based on my desire, I'm thinking, how in the next 5 years before they're 10, can I be in a position where I only need to work as much as I want to work, where I can go travel, I can spend 2 months on the slopes with my kids, I can be at every soccer game, I can do literally whatever I want with my children before they're out of the house at 18. Because I heard a stat, and it's extremely sad now that I have kids, but by the time they're 18, that's like 90% of the time that you will have ever spent with them.
Mhm.
So once they're 18, you spent 90% of the time you'll ever spend with your children. That's mind blowing. And most people don't even recognize that as a thought, and they blow through it like this. Their kids are 18, they're out of the house, and then they're filled with regret because they wanted to get that trophy on stage for being a top producer, top producing agent. And it's sad. So I'd be like, all right, I'm 40. By the time I'm 45, I want to have a net worth of $5 million invested, earning, say, very conservative, 5% interest. That would be $250,000 in income. For most people, $250,000 a year in income passive would allow them to live the life of their dreams. So if that's your goal, great. Are you going to accomplish that through selling real estate? How well are you doing now with your investments? How much money are you saving now? When I was making a couple $100,000 a year selling real estate, I was going farther in debt. My net worth was going farther negative. I wasn't doing too well. But then I saw, well, here's this revenue share model. I think if I sponsor 5 agents a year for 5 years, so 25 agents, those 25 agents tell their friends, their colleagues, and then through the 7 levels of revenue share, I should be able to get to the point where I'm making about $500,000, $250,000 to $500,000 a year in residual income. That seems more likely to happen than me saving $5 million so that I can go live the life of my dreams. So I would just get really clear on what your goals are, and then ask yourself, is me running a team at Keller Williams, is me being an independent broker, is me being a top producing real estate agent going to allow me to accomplish whatever that goal is? If the answer is yes, stay exactly where you are. If the answer is no, run to Nathan, run to whoever's sharing this video with you, and ask them, what are the best videos about EXP that I can watch? Who can I talk to? Spend 5 hours over the next 2 weeks. Everyone has 5 hours over the next 2 weeks doing your due diligence, and then say, EXP is for me, or it's not for me. Either way, at least you did your due diligence. But I can promise you this, EXP is an excellent solution to financial freedom if you pursue it. So that's my thoughts, man.
Well, to the point that other companies are taking shots at EXP, because when you do the research, one thing that I've seen on the wall, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Yeah. And I can tell you, for me as an independent broker, it was a threat to my brokerage. It was like, this is something that I have been searching for in my career path and have not been able to discover it, to the point that I asked another broker, say, I just want you to check me. Am I thinking wrong? Just check me. And he says, we have a conversation once a month or so about developing the best real estate brokerage. He says, this is it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you just convinced me that I need to make this leap, and they're going to make that leap too. I appreciate your time today, AJ. Your story is just amazing to me. To be at the age that you are, you truly have financial freedom at this point, and it's only going to continue to grow. And you have time to be able to spend. And that's the one thing I've realized at the end of time that you cannot buy is more time. And all the material things disappear. I'm fighting as hard as I am for EXP in my business to create the experiences and the impact on other people that survives beyond yourself. And the fact that EXP allows me to anything I build and passive revenue to my family, they just have to get a real estate license within a year. That's a path that I can build that does keep on going for them generationally and creates generational wealth. So I appreciate you sharing today. It's really a lot of aha moments, and I just appreciate our friendship, AJ, and keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.